Hey guys, Ty Lord Stevenson here, and today marks the first day of the rest of your life. All that and more, next! Okay, so this week I want to shout out my mate Michael from the Emerald Game Cave. He's a YouTuber that's almost up to 100 subscriptions. He may be there by now, but I wanted to shout him out because he deserves way more than that. He's way better than I am. He has way better content. If you're into marsupials, check him out. If you're into horror-themed video games, he knows all about them. He has really insightful playthroughs and Let's Plays of horror games such as Resident Evil, Silent Hill games. He has pickup videos. He's a collector as well. He'll do tours of his video game collection in his room. Just really knowledgeable on video games. I learn a lot from him. I'm really into horror games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill, and I love hearing what he has to say about stuff like that. So if you're into horror games, if you're into boomerangs, if you're into Let's Plays, if you're into barbecued shrimp, if you're into live streams, he does that too every once in a while. Yeah, if you're into crocodiles or didgeridoos or any of that stuff, you'll really love this channel. He's doing a contest right now with a really generous prize. I don't want to tell you what it is. Go check it out for yourself. It's a really generous prize to whoever wins his contest to celebrate his 100 subscriptions. So go check it out and see what it is. Subscribe to him, of course. Just a really top bloke, really knowledgeable, really smart guy. Oh, and thank you to Jay, the NES Addict, for letting me parody his intro at the beginning of my video today. I asked him and he said it was okay. Also, go check him out. I'm sure you're already familiar with him. He does really good live streams with old classic Nintendo games, and he just has a lot of fun videos in general, Nintendo related. Okay, so I don't have a diet update this week. I haven't been to the gym or to the nurse's office to check my body fat percentage, and I haven't weighed myself. I've been on vacation, staying home and being a fat slob, playing video games. Working on my backlog for the Winter Backlog challenge. I beat Golden Axe a few days ago. I'm really happy about that. I'm working on Phantasy Star 2 right now. I'm 3 dungeons into that. I beat 3 dungeons so far. It's getting really confusing. I have to refer to maps on the internet. Otherwise, I just get lost. If I can beat this, this will be my first turn-based Japanese role-playing game I've ever completed. So I'm working on that for the Winter Backlog challenge. I'm working on Shenmue 2 for Xbox. I'm really enjoying what I've played so far of this. This is a really relaxing game. Ryo continues his adventures seeking revenge for the death of his father, but he learns a lot of little life lessons along the way. A lot of fun exploring. It's kind of overwhelming. I don't think I'm even halfway through it yet. But yeah, I'm enjoying this much as I enjoyed the first Shenmue on Dreamcast. It's taken me this long to play it. I'm really hoping I complete this year. And I haven't started on Vanquish yet. I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping this won't be too overwhelming. I think I might try to finish it up with this. And I still have to play Phantasy Star 4. I don't know why I picked that one. I think I just picked it because I was kind of enjoying this one from a demo I played on Xbox Live. So I thought, what the heck, I'll try to do 2 Phantasy Stars. And I think it was Biophoenix recommended Phantasy Star 4, and I hear that's a pretty good one, so I don't even know if I'll get to that or not. Plus I have a backlog of other games to play that I've never beaten. Oh, and speaking of games I've never beaten, I kind of want to do a response video to John the RetroBro's video he did a few weeks ago. It could have been a few months ago by now. It was one I've been meaning to do, but I haven't gotten around to it. So I want to talk about the 5 games that I love that I cannot beat. And this goes all the way back to Nintendo. First one is ActRaiser. Now I have beaten the boss rush on this, or it's not really a boss rush, it's a mode where you play through all the bosses after you complete the game. Whoever had this game before had that mode unlocked. and I was able to beat that, but I don't consider that beating the game. I never actually went through the story mode and beat the game. And this is a game I always loved. This was one of the first games I played for Super Nintendo. My buddy and I rented this when we first got a Super Nintendo. I forgot if my Super Nintendo or my buddy got one. We rented this thing, and this thing was just mind-blowing. After playing at Nintendo, we moved on to this. The graphics were amazing. The music was just amazing. The music was composed by that man that did Streets of Rage music. And I think the music in here is even better than Streets of Rage. It's so epic. Go check out the orchestrated versions of the music in here. It already sounds good on the Super Nintendo. But if you go listen to the real orchestrated versions of the music in this game on YouTube or wherever, it's really amazing. Anyway, so that's a game I love, but I can't beat. I should get around to beating this. I hear it's not that hard. Double Dragon for the NES. I have beaten the Sega Genesis version of this, but this is the game I always loved when I was a kid. And I've never beaten it. The funny thing about this game is I got it from a trade with another kid when I was in elementary school. I remember we met at this park, and I gave him a game. I forgot the game I gave him, and he gave me this. And I brought this home, and I just love this game. I could never beat Mission 3 on it, though, and I still can't. But the funny thing is, now whenever I go to this park, it still is a park near my home, and if I take my little girls over there to play on the equipment or swing, I always think of Double Dragon when I drive by this park, or if I go take the kids to play at this park. So, and I did just see Pillar of Conflict beat this for the Sega Master System the other day live on one of his streams. So he has 2 games down for the Winter Backlog Challenge, Double Dragon and Mercs. He beat both of those on live streams. But anyway, I've never beaten the Nintendo one, and it was a game I've always loved. And then, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. I've never beaten this. One time my wife and I, when we were dating before we got married, we played through it with a Game Genie code for unlimited continues. So I don't really consider that beating it. And of course I beat the arcade version on an emulator. Or maybe it was on Xbox Live. But I don't think that counts because you get unlimited continues. I actually like the Nintendo version better than the arcade. I know it doesn't look as good, but there are a couple extra levels there, and I find it's kind of easier to control. But anyway, this is a game I've always loved. I loved it ever since it first came out. My cousin and I used to play this all the time. I even got the free Pizza Hut personal pan pizza with a coupon that came with this game. Maybe if I had a good tag team partner, I could beat this, but I cannot beat it single player, and every time I've tried with 2 players, I can't beat it. And I know it's not that hard, it's just a game I could never beat. And then another game I love, but I've never beaten it, is Final Fight CD. I've beaten Final Fight, the arcade game, via emulator, or that one could have been on Xbox Live too, but I think I had to use 8 credits to beat it, so I don't really consider that beating it. I want to beat one of these home versions, and Final Fight CD is my favorite home version. It has really great music. It's probably closest to the arcade at the time. I think it gives you plenty of continues, but I still cannot beat it. I kind of want to remedy that one day and beat it. But I've just always loved Final Fight, and especially this Sega CD version. Now that I can beat Golden Axe and Streets of Rage 2, I think I might have a better chance. My reflexes might be better. But anyway, Final Fight CD. And then the last game I love but I can't beat is Omicron the Nomad Soul for the Sega Dreamcast. This is a really fun sci-fi adventure game. It's kind of Blade Runner-esque, futuristic. It's a mystery slash shooter slash role-playing game slash fighting game. It has a lot of genres shoved into one big adventure, sort of similar to Shenmue. And this is developed by that man, I think his name is David Cage from Quantic Dream. So Quantic Dream made this game. They make a lot of those new games that people are into, like the movie style games that feel like movies that are really interactive. But this is one of the first games they made, and it was, and even David Bowie is in here, and he does a few songs for it. I don't know if it's songs originally made for the game or it was off of another David Bowie album, but David Bowie has quite a few songs in here, and he's one of the characters in the game. Yeah, when I first played this, though, I had never played much like this before. It was around the time I played Shenmue and Ocarina of Time. So I think at the time those three games really just blew my mind, because I had never played any PC games prior to that. I was just about Super Nintendo, and arcade games. So I had never played anything as big and immersive as this. Kind of a great big world to explore, a lot of people to interact with. And then like it'll transition into a fighting game in certain situations. Sometimes it'll transition into first-person shooter when you get to certain areas. And you have to play it on that stupid Dreamcast controller, which I can't stand, especially for first-person shooters. But anyway, that's the 5th game that I love but I can't beat. And I thought that was an interesting topic. RetroBro came up with 5 games you love but you can't beat. So I'd be interested in hearing what other people have to say. I know a lot of these are easy games, but I just can't get the hang of them for whatever reason. Oh, and go check out RetroBro too if you haven't already. He's the one that gave me the idea for this topic on the video today, the 5 games I love but I can't beat. Another guy I mentioned earlier, Pillar of Conflict, that's in the Winter Backlog Challenge. Go check him out too. He's really good at games. He's really knowledgeable on the Sega Master System. I've been learning a lot about Sega Master System from him. Also Alex, that video game collector. I know I've mentioned him a million times, but you got to get in on his contest. You got to get in on the Backlog Challenge. You still have a few more days to join, so go let Alex know if you want to get in on that. I don't think I'm going to be able to complete it this year because I still have all these games to beat. This Phantasy Star 2 is really overwhelming for me. I beat a few of the dungeons. I looked at some of the maps of the later dungeons and they just look really, really overwhelming. It's really going to be a challenge for me to beat this game, but I really want to do it. Anyway, so this week I'm going to get back to my diet and my lifting weights and the gym and all that. So I hope I have some good results next week for my diet update. Like I said, I've just been a slob the last couple of weeks, sitting at home playing video games, playing with my little girls. But I'm getting back to routine next week. So anyway, I'll talk to you next week with my diet update. Bye.